Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus, and I am so excited today because we have Laura on the show with us today. And I met Laura a couple of years ago, actually, through a mutual friend. And Laura, when I was kind of looking at these 21 experts and trying to go, okay, who do I want to have on the show? Your name immediately popped in. And the reason for that is just because, you and I have had a lot of discussions and talks, and I love what you're doing in this in the world, and I love what you're putting out there and kind of where you're going with all of your leadership programs and stuff like that. So if you could please introduce yourself and tell us kind of a little bit about your background, that would be awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about my background, as I was someone who found myself in the corporate world. My internship turned into a job, and then there was really some soul searching around what is the impact I want to make in the world. And I felt like I was called to do more. And so really reflecting on that leadership journey and what did that look like, I realized that fear was holding me back because I knew I wasn't in the right spot, but I didn't know what that first next step was. And so finally, I just got to the point where I was like, well, no one's coming to save me. I got to do this by myself. And I ended up, after doing some workshops and coach training programs and doing a lot of community leadership to really build up my confidence and my skill set, I started doing my own business, doing leadership coaching and development specifically for women in the corporate life, and then also in their business, the entrepreneurs as well.
That's amazing. So what the name of your business is?
Gmeinder Coaching and Consulting.
Awesome. Yeah. And you're in the Madison area and doing really, really awesome things. And you're also a woman to watch from Brava, right? Last year you were.
A lot of pressure. Now I have to do watchable things. So thank you for having me on here. I think that counts a lot to be able to share your message in this format.
Yeah, absolutely. The inspiration for this show, Your Leadership Legacy, is really about leadership, right? And how leadership today is different maybe than how it has been in the past, and how as leaders we need to flex new skill sets and different kinds of things in order to be successful in today's environment. And so my first question is, what does self-leadership mean to you?
I think about it like leading from within, and to me it was a game changer, because right when I was stuck in the fear and the wrong life, it was because I didn't know myself, and I had gone through a lot of hard times and not really processed. I kept pushing those down. I wanted to be the good girl. I wanted to be the great employee. And I didn't take time to be like, who am I? What is important to me? And also when I was doing a lot of the people pleasing and my perfectionist was coming out, like I was trying to anticipate what other people's needs were versus really aligning with my values and that inner leader piece to be able to say, well, this is who I am. And this is the way that I'm able to inspire and the way I'm able to contribute, versus anticipating what I think you might want to hear or how you might want me to support you because I don't know me.
Right. So it's that clarity piece, right? It's that we just kind of walk through life, letting life come at us, and we just deal with it and move on with it. And I think what you and I have in common, because we've talked about this, there gets to be this day where you go, wait a second, who am I and what do I want? And what does that mean? So what are some of the things that you did to really gain that clarity to figure out who you really were?
I think the biggest thing was to realize that I didn't know who I was. And part of that piece was like, I got so much joy and excitement and energy from all my community leadership that it was like, why can't my work be like this? And that was really the first kind of light bulb moment, like where maybe something's really wrong here. And thinking about like, what was that impact that I wanted to make, and where was I already making an impact, and where were the things that people were searching me out? And, with the corporate environment, our parent company was out of state. So as far as like what that impact was going to be locally, I just knew I was called to do more. And I just didn't want to inspire the people in, in my neighborhood. I wanted to have a really big impact in the world, to really empower women to say, you can step up. Not only can you, but you need to step up. You need to be the change. Like, something is broken right now and we need to do something different.
Yeah, definitely. So when you say something is broken and that we need to do something different, what do you think that some of the reasons are of why that's, like, why have we gotten to this space where all of a sudden, like, life needs to change and now we need all these new skill sets?
I think we are just in like this autopilot, black is the new busy. Like, the world that we're living in is very, very demanding, and you can get swept away in that so easily. And we're not taught in school how to, find out who we are and what our values are and what we want. So then we show up in the corporate environment like that. I feel really grateful. My work team was like a family to me. They took me under my wings, and it really was a place for me to find safety and really grow and be able to be at a place where I was okay to say, like, I'm not okay with myself. I don't know who I am. And what does that piece of it look like to start getting really just more curious and to, not have to check your emotions at the door, but to say that, like, my emotions and how I handle those make me a great leader. And that's me then also, being the leader and being the role model that I want to be in the world.
Right, right. And so often as we grow up and go through our professional lives, that kind of gets beat out of us, doesn't it? Like, you kind of get programmed into this, just walking through life and going through the motions. And that's kind of where that wake up call comes. So I know that you do a lot of work with teams, and part of this whole leadership legacy is about what kind of a leader do I need to be to build leaders of leaders and leave a leadership legacy. So talk to me about teamwork and what makes a team unstoppable. What needs to be in place in order for a team to be unstoppable?
I really think that a focus on belonging and what that piece of it looks like, because, there's so much opportunity. And going back to the example I shared, for me, like, the bottom line is, if your team isn't feeling safe, they're not going to be at their most productive. They are not going to be willing to share their thoughts and feelings, to be creative, to try new strategies, to take risks and fail, whether that is, a win or a lesson. But really kind of having that focus on, how can I create safety in my team, and how can I make sure that people are in the right roles, that there's the fulfillment, that they're doing what they are good at, and if they're wanting more, am I having regular conversations about what they want and not making the assumptions, and to really be able to, have that focus on each person. It's the unit, it's the culture that we're creating, but it's also, it starts with each person and the relationship you're building, the safety you're building, and knowing that they're a very important, valued member of the team.
Right, right. And you mentioned safety, right? So in this highly connected world that we're in right now, safety is big, because if we're not happy at work, we're bringing it home. If we're not happy at home, we're bringing it into work. So because our worlds are so connected these days, it's really important as a leader to create that safety on the team. I love where you're going with that. So what does that look like? What is it, when you say safety within a team, what does that look like in action?
Trust, and showing up every day as your authentic leader, and being there for your team, communicating what your expectations is, but setting them up for the win, to be there when they need the support. I think for me, a big shift when I was in corporate was because I was the intern and the employee, I had, my first boss was very much, here's what we need to do, here's how we're going to do it, in such a positive way. However, I wasn't really empowered to start questioning until I got a new boss in, and I would bring her a problem, and she'd like, okay, and give me 5 solutions. And what do you think about that? And I was like, what do I think about that? But I just want you to tell me, and then I'll just do it. So really that kind of coaching piece of it as well, to really expand on what the potential for each employee is and how they can then contribute as a team.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So when you think about leadership, what was your favorite part about leadership, or what's your favorite part about it?
I think seeing people do something that they never imagined was possible. That really feeling like, oh my gosh, I did that, I contributed, that win, to be able to be there to like cheering them on, that piece of it, I think. And what that looks like when people really have a powerful vision, they're feeling inspired, and then they know too that I did this, and this is, a small big piece of the whole team, and how that really aligns with where we're heading as an organization or as a team or as an individual, like those layers of it.
So so if I'm a leader and I'm in an organization, I'm in corporate America, I have this amazing team, but I'm struggling, I'm stuck because we're so highly connected and there's all these different new problems that are in the workforce. So as a leader, how do I need to flex my skills differently, like today and tomorrow, versus maybe how I've led in the past? What's different?
Yeah, I think that's such a great point, is because what got you here isn't going to keep getting you there. Yeah. So I think that, really trying to figure out, like, what can you do, a brainstorming meeting with your team and seeing, what do they think are your blind spots? Or reaching out to peers at other companies. What are you doing that's working? Or even getting, a coach or a mentor, but saying like, I know I need to be something different to stay competitive in this world. And what does that piece of it look like? And then also too, how can you lean even harder into your strengths? Because, for me, that's really where you can like explode your potential. Some people are really wanting to fill in those gaps with their weakness, but I think if you can focus on what your strengths are and then build a team around you that is strong in some of the areas maybe that you're weak, and then you complement. And again, it goes back to being, feeling fulfilled as an employee, and then feeling like you belong, because, I'm super, super big picture and high energy. And so I love the detail, organized, detailed, focused, analytical thinking, like all those things. To me, I don't like to do that piece of it. I'm not as good at that piece of it. So to be able to collaborate, to partner with someone who that lights them up, that's where their flow is, to be able to pull them in and say, I need you for this.
Yeah. Definitely the diversity end of it, diversity in thought and everything else. So tell me, you mentioned vulnerability when you were kind of talking in there. So how does vulnerability play into leadership today?
With some of the executives I work with, I think sometimes just saying, I don't know, that you're not going to have all the answers, and don't feel like you're being put on the spot, to have that immediate response to something, or just because someone is asking for something, to not be able to pause and maybe I just want to sleep on it. It goes back to that world where like instant gratification, immediate answers, like everybody's in your face, everything going so fast, but sometimes just even to take a step back and be more thoughtful on things really gives a great potential, an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the people that are going to tune in to watch this are probably a couple of different groupings, right? Aspiring leaders. So people that maybe don't have a title today, but they're aspiring to go into leadership, or maybe current leaders who are stuck. People who are maybe leading teams, but they're stuck because they don't understand, there's team conflict and all that kind of stuff. So what is one piece of advice that you would give a leader if they're really stuck or trying to go into leadership? Like, what is the one piece of advice that you think every leader should definitely have?
I think kind of what we talked about earlier is like really doing what you can to build up your inner leader, but then also to like, if you are wanting to be on that leadership path, like sometimes you need to be your own best advocate. Like I have a hard time asking for help, but if I think of it as like, I'm advocating for my career, I'm advocating for my business. And if you have that vision, if you have that call for leadership, like tell as many people as you can, raise your hand and say yes when there's a new project, or maybe you're collaborating. I have some great experiences, whether it was collaborating with another department in my company or getting out and doing community leadership. I mean, that's a great way to build your resume and your skill set, but it can start now. It can start today. It's not a title. It's about how you show up and really be reflecting on that piece of it.
Yeah, so important. It's such an important thing. I think that in the past, leadership has been about this is my title and the hierarchy and rank and all that kind of stuff. And that's not the way it is moving forward. Leadership is about leading yourself. It's about leading others. It's about showing up in the way that you want to show up in the world and being the change and all that kind of stuff. And the whole subject just completely fascinates me. So I understand that you have a free gift for people who are listening. So tell us about the free gift that you have for them.
Yes. I think with talking about, developing as your leadership potential, it's really having that powerful vision of where you want to go. So I'm excited to share my Goal Getter Blueprint, which is a guided 7-page blueprint that asks you some questions around your vision and then really helps you drill down on what are your leadership goals and how will you get there to find the motivation, but then also the discipline to be able to step up as a leader.
Yeah, and I bet it starts with clarity. With what you have, right? It just
exactly.
That clarity is where it starts with, because if you don't know who you want to be, if you don't know who you want to show up as or where you want to go or what you want to do, you kind of just end up spinning and living on this hamster wheel, letting life have control of you instead of like just taking back control of the life that you have and really putting some organization and some methodology around it. So
exactly.
One piece. Yeah, so I want to thank you. Our time is flew by. Our time is already done already. But I want to thank you for showing up in the world as the leader that you show up as. When I was thinking about who I wanted to have on the show, your name definitely came to my mind because I love what you're doing in the Madison community and even in Milwaukee and way out and above and beyond that. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for being the leader that you are. And I would just invite everyone to check Laura out. She's an amazing human and doing some great stuff. So with that, Laura, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I feel the same about you.
Thanks. Have a good day. We'll talk later. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
My name is Tina Paulus-Krauss, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.